Coming up next on Beartooth News at 10, the days of the cowboy aren't over as members of an old-time shooting society try to keep the Wild West alive. We'll have more on that story at 10 o'clock. Governor Schweitzer was in Alberton viewing the damage done by fires devastating lands around Interstate 90, and it was man versus beast in efforts towards wolf management in Montana. Beartooth News at 10 is next.
Where news comes first for North Central Montana. This is Beartooth News, Weekend Edition.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Brian Rodriguez. First, some breaking news. News 12, Beartooth News has learned that longtime anchor of nightly news, Peter Jennings, has passed away. We will give you more on that story as we learn more. And Governor Schweitzer was in Alberton this morning to view the damage caused by a series of wildfires along Interstate 90. Schweitzer flew to the scene about 10:30 this morning. 10 homes south of Alberton remain under evacuation orders tonight. Homeowners were told to leave Friday night after fires crossed over a ridge above them. Officials say more residents left, but some chose to stay with their homes. The 4 fires have burned a total of 4,000 acres tonight. They are about 10% contained. Although most of the Interstate 90 is open to traffic, officials are considering closing again because of the numerous accidents in the area. And Montana's shares of the federal highway bill includes much-needed funding for a highway some call the lifeline of the High Line. About $71 million in the bill is going towards improvements on U.S. Highway 2, and of that $71 million, about $30 million will pay for the road improvements between Browning and North Dakota and east of Havre. Another $25 million will be used to construct 2 Medicine Bridge, and $6 million will go towards work on highway in Lincoln County. The final 10 is earmarked to study expanding the highway from 2 lanes to 4 between Glasgow and North Dakota. Montana received a total of $2.3 billion from the bill. And a Great Falls man will serve life in prison for sexually abusing a young girl for 8 years. 40-year-old Daryl Hamilton was sentenced last week to 120 years in prison after he was found guilty of 1 count of sexual abuse for each year the attacks took place. Hamilton's attorney had asked for the minimal penalty, saying Hamilton had no prior criminal record, but District Judge Keith Neal says the offenses were hideous and referenced a statement from the victim saying Hamilton had taken away her innocence and laughter. A case against him involving sex with another girl is still pending. And people at this weekend's powwow on the Rocky Boys Indian Reservation are being advised against those who cough. The Rocky Boy Public Health Department has confirmed 22 cases of whooping cough since June. Health officials have urged that anyone who is ill should stay home, and as a precaution, they say to keep the distance from anyone who's coughing. Rocky Boy Public Health nurse Janet Runyon says the whooping cough outbreak has slowed and no new cases have been reported since last week. The Pryor Mountain Wild Horses herd on the Montana-Wyoming line has rebounded after mountain lions have killed almost 1 of their 28 foals last year. The Bureau of Land Management says that of this year's 35 foals, 28 have survived. The herd's current population is 167 horses. Next month, horse managers plan another round of contraception experiments to keep the herd's growth in check. If the shots don't keep the horse numbers down, the BLM says it will consider rounding up horses and putting them up for adoption. And 3 people were rescued in unrelated incidents in Wyoming's Grand Teton National Park yesterday. 49-year-old Jerry Painter of Idaho Falls was climbing the east face of Mount Moran when a rock dislodged by climbers above him struck his helmet. Park officials say the rock broke the helmet and injured Painter's head and neck. He was rescued by helicopter. Heat-related illnesses and dehydration required 2 other evacuations of a 21-year-old woman from Baltimore, Maryland, and a 55-year-old man from Chagrin Falls, Ohio. And new figures show that National Yellowstone Park rangers faced fewer threats and assaults last year than they did in 2003. However, they still reported more incidents than any other rangers in any other park in the country. The figures combined for the FBI show 12 threats and 3 assaults reported against Yellowstone rangers last year. In a typical year, between 2 and 4 assaults are reported. In 2003, 32 assaults were reported against rangers in the park. And managing Montana's wolves is a full-time job. Just ask outdoor reporter Winston Greeley, who trails the Wolfman in this week's Outdoor Report.
Somewhere along Montana's back roads, nestled between mountains and sunsets, you'll find John Trapp. whose role as a state wolf manager often finds him on the road.
We're in this transition phase from the federal wolf management to state wolf management, and so I think it's as much information as we can get out right now is the best.
Providing information and community outreach is just one aspect of a job that runs day through night.
They're getting closer. They're gonna come up this hill probably.
This eerie feeling one might get from howling wolves at night is the exact feeling John and other state wolf managers are trying to dispel.
I've been alone in the woods many times with wolves. They've never been threatening to me, even alone. Most of the time they run. They don't like to deal with humans.
Mending these misperceptions is one focus of Montana's wolf management program, which aims to create a balance between wolves and the Montanans who share the landscape.
Because people and wolves are living in relatively close quarters, it's important for us to make sure people have all their questions answered and myths dispelled, I guess.
Winston Greeley, out among Montana's fish, wildlife, and parks.
Montana's wolf management policy seeks to maintain a benchmark of 15 breeding pairs of wolves in Montana. And more than 1,000 people crowded the parking lots at Cape Disappointment State Park in Washington to witness the release of the shiny new Ocean View nickel, which marks the arrival of the Lewis and Clark expedition at the Pacific Ocean 200 years ago. The new nickel is the fourth in a series honoring the explorers. Like Lewis and Clark, Friday's visitors were welcomed by the Chinook Indian Nation. Between 800 and 850 million nickels will be minted. And think the days of the cowboy are over? Not for some members of the Old Time Shooting Society. Jenna Bennett spent the afternoon revisiting the 1800s.
Welcome to the Wild, Wild West. Here in the hills just outside of Sims, members of the Sun River Rangers Shooting Society travel back in time. Once a month, they meet up to participate in an old-time cowboy action shoot where they get to recreate the 1800s.
They have us dress in the authentic clothes. They have us dress in those so it actually brings back that time period. And we have to shoot all single action guns because they didn't have any like big machine guns back then.
The cowboys compete in shooting scenarios which are based on real situations gunslingers faced in the Old West. Participants then go through one of 5 stages like this, where they draw their guns and go for the target. While the group does travel to statewide shooting contests, they say the sport isn't about competition, but having a good time.
They don't care if they hit all the targets or not. They're just here to dress up and have fun, play cowboys like the old John Wayne days.
How could it be any better? You get to dress up like a cowboy, wear real guns, and shoot stuff.
Not only does the group dress up, they also create their own cowboy names to use during the shootouts. They say it's just another way to keep the Wild West alive. In Sims, Jenna Bennett, Beartooth, NBC.
For more information about the Sun Rivers Rangers Shooting Society, you can visit the website at www.sunriverrangers.com. And coming up next on Beartooth News at 10, you may think it's only what you do while you're driving that causes accidents, but a study says it's also what you wear. Plus weather and sports, stay tuned.
Live from Montana's capital city with reports from north central Montana, Brian Rodriguez, weathercaster Rachel Hoffenberg, and sports with Corey Heffela. This is your NBC for Great Falls, Havre, Helena, and Lewistown. Beartooth News at 10, Weekend Edition. This fall, one father still. Your first choice for local news, weather, and sports.
First, it was cell phones distracting drivers behind the wheel. Now, a new study says that the shoes you wear, specifically flip-flops, could cause an accident. James Hattori has more.
From beachwear to urban chic, flip-flops have arrived, even at the White House, worn by a college lacrosse team. But a British insurance company says when it comes to driving, 75% of those it asked admitted that flip-flops make it difficult.
It's funny, but it's out there, and it does get in the way of people's driving abilities.
Just ask Irene Seco, whose car was hit by a flip-flop wearing driver 3 years ago.
And she looked down at her feet and she said, but something happened to my shoes. I think flip-flops might be the fashion, but when you're driving, wear sensible shoes like these.
Jan Stevens went back to hard soles after a flip-flop fluke.
And the shoe got caught under the pedal and my toes were on top of the clutch pedal. And thank God there was nobody behind me.
A spokeswoman for the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says she's not aware of any studies into footwear causing traffic accidents, but she says it is intuitively obvious that wearing flip-flops while you're driving can cause problems. Experts say it isn't a question of legality.
Right now there is no law saying that you must wear shoes. So barefoot, wearing flip-flops, high-heel shoes, it doesn't matter.
But simply common sense.
Don't come near me when you're driving those shoes because they're dangerous.
James Hattori, NBC News, Vallejo, California.
We will have the complete look at the forecast when we return, but first, here are the results of this week's web poll question.
From the Beartooth News Weather Center, weathercaster Rachel Hoffenberg.
Welcome back. Rachel Hoffenberg is off, but let's take a look outside at our Mountain West Bank weather cam. And outside we see a beautiful sunset. All the haze from the fires in the state really make the colors light up. So it looks, this was taken out earlier at around 8:45. Now let's take a look at our current conditions. It's 86 degrees right now in Helena. As you can see, no real significant wind or humidity out there tonight. Some clouds lingering, and we may have some thunderstorms rolling in tomorrow like the ones we had this morning. And for today, we see that we're not very far away from our record highs and lows at 100 degrees in 2001 and in 1990. We got a little bit of rain with that thunderstorm this morning, but only about 1/100 of an inch. And in Great Falls right now, we're seeing a lot of haze from those wildfires and getting some wind as well. It's 82 degrees right now, and there is a chance of thunderstorms tomorrow for Great Falls as well. And in the almanac, we see that it's a hot day, but we didn't make the record high of 101 degrees set back in 1970. And let's take a look at the current temperatures around the state. Tonight's lows are pretty mild for the most part. 52 in Missoula, 55 in Great Falls, and 58 in Helena, and very chilly 45 in Kalispell tonight. And tomorrow we can expect more of the same around the state temperature. And of course, we see the lows here at 56 degrees and 60 in Glasgow. And for tomorrow, we see that it's going to be 84. Look at all the sunshine, but we will have a few showers. It's 88 in Great Falls for a high and 91 in Helena. For the 5-day, we start to see some thunder showers rolling in from the tail end of tonight up until tomorrow and continuing up until Thursday. So we're going to see about a high of 91 on Monday, and it's going to cool down a bit and a high of 86 when it clears up on Friday. And in Great Falls, we see it's going to be 87 showers also, 86 on Tuesday, 82 on Wednesday, a low of 49 on Wednesday, and showers continue from Thursday and clear on Friday with a high of 89 degrees and a low of 57. So we're going to see a few showers out there, but it will cool down just a bit. So not to worry, it's going to be a little bit wet, it's going to be a little cooler, so it's not too bad.
Who knew? You didn't even have to go to meteorology school, and you can still do the weather.
I don't know about that. I try. Awesome. I don't know about that. Rachel and Curtis, they still got me beat, I think.
Well, close. It's close.
They do. And it was an exciting world in sports, wasn't it, Corey?
It was. You know what? A couple of guys got inducted into the Hall of Fame today. Real good quarterbacks. I'll tell you who they were after the break.
And now, sports with Corey Heppola.
After 7 games, the Helena Brewers are perfect. Now, you'll remember, that's exactly how the Brewers began the first half of the season, and you know what? That didn't finish too poorly, did it? No, it didn't. The Brewers won the first half of the season, and the Brewers came within 4 outs of throwing their second no-hitter in 3 days. Will Inman, well, he was spectacular. He didn't allow a hit over 7 innings, striking out 10. The Brewers stay perfect in the second half, 5-1 over Billings. As for Great Falls, they drop another one-run game, 3-2 against Missoula. The Sox, they're struggling right now. They fall to 2-6 in the second half. Other scores: Idaho Falls tops Ogden 7-6 in 12 innings, and Casper slips by Orem 6-5. It happened tonight in Major League Baseball. Atlanta leading St. Louis in the ninth, but bases loaded. David Eckstein, oh, he's woofing! Woof! A walk-off grand slam. Cardinals win. Check out this guy going after a foul ball. Look at that. Spills his beer all over himself. Look at him. No! Why? Twins and Red Sox, 2 on, only 1 out. Alex Cora flies to left. Shannon Stewart makes a play. Yeah, there's only 2 outs now. Kevin Millar, he comes around to score. Sox win. These 2 guys did the same job in 2 completely different ways. One was a pocket passer, the other a scrambler. But Dan Marino and Steve Young do have one thing in common, and that's that they were 2 of the best quarterbacks ever. Oh, and another thing, today they were both inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame. Although they were different on the field, the results were pretty much the same. They both won a lot of games, with Young winning the Super Bowl in 1995. Marino, he set almost every passing record known to man, something not many teams thought he could do.
I've always been asked the question, did it bother me that 26 teams passed on me in the first round? And I would always answer no. Well, I lied. Today I want to thank those 26 teams for passing on me. You gave me an opportunity to play for one of the greatest franchises in the NFL, the Miami Dolphins.
I have found heaven on earth for football. Think back to the 49ers of the late 80s and 90s. Think of all the names that rush to your memory. How lucky was I to be in the middle of that?
Steve Young played in Joe Montana's shadow for a while, but he busted out 7 Pro Bowls, 2 MVPs, and that Super Bowl victory over San Diego. That ring is about the only thing Dan Marino never got, but Dan, he set records, baby. 9 Pro Bowls, All-Pro 8 times, and 1 MVP award. Speaking of greats, Wayne Gretzky is returning to the ice, except as a coach. Sources say the NHL's all-time leading scorer will become the new coach of the Phoenix Coyotes. There had been speculation that Gretzky would move from the front office to the bench, but the great one said he would wait until the NHL ended its lockout. As a player, Gretzky won 4 Stanley Cups with the Edmonton Oilers and is the NHL's all-time leading goal, assist, and point producer. This week on the PGA, points are good. Sure, at the International, they're using the Stableford scoring system, giving the players points for good holes and taking them away for bad holes. The PGA Championship starts Thursday, but you can't keep Retief Goosen away. Earlier this morning, 3rd round, Brant Jobe on 9. No, it's not Brent, it's Brant. He would birdie the hole. That's 2 points. But that final round got him. Remember, Jobe's a righty. He has to swing lefty there. He would fall out of the lead. Just partially because of this guy, Retief Goosen on 9. He's swinging a 9-iron here. Watch this. Oh, he gets it to come right back to the pin. Give that man 2 points. And the 1-point lead. Then on 18, Jobe, one last chance for the win. Hit it. Nope. So Goosen, he gets some momentum headed into the PGA Championship that starts this Thursday. Nextel Cup, the Allstate 400, that's at the Brickyard. Lap 23, Bobby Hamilton Jr. He's in the detergent car there. He cuts a tire, but he's a professional driver. He keeps it under control. Later, though, his pit crew would actually repair that part of the track. Lap 61 on the restart. You're in the head of Dale Earnhardt Jr. He gets bumped. His day was over. Sure been a tough year for Jr. 40 laps later, hometown boy Tony Stewart, he takes the lead over Brian Vickers, and Stewart wins for the 4th time over the last 6 races. Yeah, he is now your points leader. All right, a can't-miss reality television show. 16 Texas Tech students, they'll attend night school. That's right, Hall of Famer Bobby Knight. He's putting on this reality television show that gives one student the chance to walk onto his basketball team. Now that's good television.
I have never used steroids, period. I do not know how to say it any more clearly than that. Never.
Someone's lying. This week, Rafael Palmeiro was suspended by Major League Baseball after testing positive for a performance-enhancing drug. Oh yeah, and after he told the world in March he didn't dip. Sources say Palmeiro tested positive for the same potent steroid that Olympic sprinter Ben Johnson was caught using when he won the gold medal in the 1988 Olympics. Johnson was stripped of his gold. The crazy thing is, Rafi tested positive in May, so when he hit number 3,000 a couple of weeks ago, he celebrated knowing he'd been caught. All right, celebrate good times. Woo! Palmeiro says the test was an accident. But you got to know what you're putting into your body at this point.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. That's something else right there. All right, thanks, Corey. And still to come on Beartooth News, it was a great day to be a kid. We'll show you how some were celebrating in Lewistown for National Kids Day. Stay with us.
If you're in the... You're watching Beartooth NBC, your official jackpot alert station. Here are the estimated jackpot amounts from the Montana Lottery.
Today is National Kids Day, and to celebrate, many in Lewistown, 60 children plus parents shared some meaningful time with fun and games at the Boys and Girls Club in Lewistown. Activities included golf, frisbee basketball, arts and crafts, and perfect for a hot afternoon, ice cream making, and dunking the parent.
Some communities do huge projects, much larger than our own, but we're really happy that we're able to provide a fun afternoon for kids here.
Oh, wow. It looks a lot of fun out there, huh?
It's always Kids Day, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, especially for Corey Hepla. If only I could be your age, Corey.
Whatever.
All right, well, join us again tomorrow at 6 and 10 for your check of local news, weather, and sports. Until then, this is Corey, and I'm Brian.
We'll see ya.
Tonight.